Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Jess Hilarious, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. Let's get in some front page news. Good morning, Tess.
Good morning, DJ NV, Jess Hilarious, Charlamagne the God.
Peace, Ted.
All right, let's jump right into it. Donald Trump.
Yeah, so everybody saw this news yesterday and was, oh my God, what's going on? Did he drop the charges? The Georgia judge, that is, dismissed some of Trump's Georgia charges. He now has 10 charges in Georgia instead of 13. Take a listen, but I'm going to break it down to you on the other side.
Fulton County Judge Scott McAfee threw out charges that accuse former President Trump and several of his co-defendants of pressuring public officers to violate their oaths as part of an alleged effort to overturn the 2020 election. McAfee said District Attorney Fani Willis and her prosecutors were not specific enough about the violations, writing, "The lack of detail concerning an essential legal element is fatal." Just 3 of Trump's 13 counts were tossed, including one for his January 2021 phone call to Georgia's Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger.
I just want to find 11,780 votes.
Trump's legal team applauded the ruling.
It was a step in the right direction. It goes to the sloppiness of, frankly, the prosecutors down there.
Okay, guys, so this reads bigger than what it is. I admit, when I read the headline, this is why it's important to read more information in the headline. When I read the headline, I was like, oh my God, you guys say that all of a sudden now Trump's not going to be charged. But the judge is simply saying this is a technical issue, that the defense team needs more details in order to prepare for their defense. The state, they're saying that the state needs to be clear about what constitution was violated, whether it was the U.S. Constitution or the Georgia Constitution, but it's basically a technical issue. The state has several options. They can appeal the decision or re-indict, start all the way over, which is obviously probably not the favorable thing to do, or just add more additional details and give it the meat or the teeth, if you will, that the case needs in order to move forward. And they're saying just allege more so that they can have more information there, just so that the defense has an opportunity to prepare their case, basically.
You're right, Ted, but it kind of doesn't matter because it's great optics for Donald Trump. Like, he's been telling people this is a witch hunt. He's been telling people this is all politically driven. He's been telling people this is nothing. And now he's getting charges dropped. Even if it's just a few charges dropped for whatever technical reasons, it's a win for him, and he can message that in a really good way.
Yep. Yeah, well, they are messaging it that. You're absolutely right. So 2 things can be true at the same time. It can be just a technical issue, something that they need to fix, something unfortunate that happened. And at the same time, like anybody would, you would want to use this to your favor. And they did. Right. They did a whole media run yesterday saying, we told you. They went a step in the right direction, particularly because, remember, this is the same judge that has to decide if Fani Willis will be dismissed from this case completely because of her relationship with Mr. Wade. So we're looking for a decision on that to happen either today or tomorrow. So when you couple that mix with this, of course, they're going to use it for messaging.
Yep.
Is something you going to say, DJ Envy?
No. I was going to say, yeah. I mean, the fact that he had 13 charges and now it's 10, he's definitely going to use that. He's definitely going to say it's a witch hunt, definitely going to say they're dropping charges, they didn't have enough proof, and I would ride it all the way to November. Yeah, absolutely, positively.
So we'll be looking for that story, guys. I'll be keeping up to see what's going to happen. I think that's probably more of a concerning issue if Fani's going to be able to proceed on with this case. So we should know that in the next day or so. All
right. Well, that is front page news. What are we talking about next hour?
Well, so the House, they seem to can't get anything else right, like dealing with homelessness and jobs and all the things that matter to the American people. But one thing they definitely agree on is banning TikTok. There was bipartisan support on that vote yesterday, so we're going to talk about that at the 7:00 hour.
Yeah, I got a lot of questions about that, so I can't wait to talk about that. All right, and that's front page news. Get it off your chest, 800-585-1051. If you need to vent, phone lines are wide open again. 800-585-1051. Whatever's on your mind, you need to get it off your chest. Maybe you're having problems at the crib, or maybe you just feel blessed. Whatever it may be, call us up right now. It's the Breakfast Club. Good morning.
Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Jess Hilarious, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. Let's get in some front page news. What up, Tiz?
What's going on, DJ NV, Jess Hilarious, Charlamagne the Guy?
Peace,
hey,
Ted.
Tiz.
Now, let's talk about this ban of TikTok.
Yeah, well, Congress can't agree on much these days, but they did come together, the U.S. House of Representatives, to try to ban TikTok. Let's take a listen. I'll give you some more information on the other
Fate
side.
of social media app TikTok hanging in the balance. In a rare moment of bipartisanship, the House voted overwhelmingly to pass a bill that would ban the popular platform unless it severs ties with the Chinese Communist Party. President Biden vowed to sign the bill if it passes the Democratic-controlled Senate. And if the bill becomes law, it would give TikTok's Chinese-based parent company ByteDance 6 months to sell the video sharing app, or it would be removed from app stores and web hosting services here in the U.S. Now, TikTok's massive lobbying efforts were not enough to stop the crackdown, despite a flood of phone calls to members of Congress and these online influencers who were here in Washington visiting Capitol Hill.
Now, there's a lot to unpack here. Before we get into it, a reporter did ask the White House press secretary if the president is concerned with TikTok, why is he on it? Because President Biden did say that if this makes it to his desk, he will most certainly sign it. But take a listen to the response on saying, hey, you on TikTok, so what about you guys? Take a listen.
If the president is so concerned about the national security risks around TikTok, why is he posting on the platform?
So I'll say this. Jake Sullivan, our national security advisor, just spoke to the more broadly why this bill is important, why we welcome this bill. Obviously, it's going to the process, and we're offering technical support. So I'll just leave that piece there. As it relates to the campaign, I would have to, and their strategy as it relates to TikTok, I'm just going to leave it to them.
So
okay,
I have
go
a
ahead.
question, Taz. I'm sorry. So is there proof that this that China is, I guess, watching us and researching us? Is that proof, or we're just saying that because it's a Chinese company and I guess the U.S. ain't effing with China right now? Like, is there proof, or there is no proof? Because it just seems crazy that we're just banning it after all these years.
That's what I believe.
Great question. And you're not the only one that feel that way. Actually, Congressman Jamal Bowman, New York City Congressman from the Bronx, actually made that point last night. I was watching him on MSNBC, and he said that there has not been adequate evidence that this platform has been manipulated by the Chinese authorities. He also said that we've had actual evidence of showing Russian election interference on Facebook, and nobody's talking about shutting that down. Now, I do want to make the point that what Nancy Pelosi is saying and all these other folks are saying on the other side of it, they're saying that it's one thing to have interference, on Facebook, just using it as an example, versus who's actually in charge of the app. And so they're saying that because China's in charge of the app, it runs a security list. But to your point, DJ Envy, Congresswoman Barbara Lee also said, rather than target one company in a rush and secretive process, Congress should pass a more comprehensive data privacy protection to do a better job on all of these apps. And basically what they're saying is the simple answer is there's not enough proof to really show it. They're just having this battle with TikTok. Another point I want to make is, in China, they have banned our Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, and that plays a part in it as well. So
exactly.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I think it's like
it's been like that forever, though. That's why I don't understand. Like, number one, America isn't the only country in the world that has banned TikTok. Like, there's other countries in the world that have banned TikTok, and China has most American social media platforms banned, so they're getting a taste of their own medicine. So what's the problem?
Yeah.
I think it's only thing that I say is there's like 8,500 TikTok employees here in the U.S., so a lot of people will lose jobs. But if there's no evidence of them spying on us, it just seems difficult.
TikTok's not going nowhere. TikTok, they just want TikTok to get out of the grasp of China. They want them to sell to a company here in America.
But how do you do that? How do you say there's no proof of you spying? We just don't like you. So
how do we know there's no proof of them spying?
Because she said there was no proof.
Yeah,
man, clearly these people know more about this than we do. If it's already banned in several countries around the world,
because a lot of people just don't like China.
It's like,
no, that's not
I think we should worry about what they ban in their country. They've been like that.
Yeah, so let me say this for clarity. I don't want to say absolute. There's no absolute no proof. They're saying there's not adequate proof. So I just want to put that out there. But yeah, I think this is also, guys, TikTok is doing a tit for tat. Was saying, hey, our America is, if you will. You've banned our America Facebook, our Instagram, our YouTube. So now we're going to ban you. But I also think there's another point, guys. Remember, China's TikTok is very different than ours.
That's right.
Their TikTok is education based.
That's right.
Their kids are learning science, projects. Meanwhile, our TikTok, is about practicing dance routines. But I also want to make this point.
And they got a time regulation on it.
We made it like
yes, they do.
Yeah.
That's
and I also want to make this point. that there are 5 million businesses on TikTok as well. So this is not just, to your point, DJ Envy, a lot of people will lose business. A lot of people will lose income as well. So it's just a lot, going on with this. The Senate is not sure if they're going to pass this or not. It still has to go to the Senate. They say they're going to take their time, but just honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it passed.
It just seems very bullying. Like, yeah, well, you better sell it to a U.S. company or you ain't going to be able to be rocking the U.S. anymore. That sounds crazy.
It is just about money at the end of the day, because if it's really truly about anything else, then they would just want it to go away. But it has to be sold to somebody that they approve of.
Right.
Like, what?
Well, if lawmakers say TikTok is a national security threat, and, there's plenty of countries around the world who already have banned TikTok, there's got to be something to it. And, we all know that they're not going to always tell us everything. That's just the reality of the situation.
But they can also tell us anything.
They can also tell us anything. But I just look at the examples of what's happening around the world. Like, TikTok has been banned.
But they're not banning it. They just have a better version for their children because they just don't want their children sitting up watching foolishness all day.
Why would China ban it?
And they have always been that way. They're
right.
always like that about their education and how strict they are with their government and everything.
Yeah, so China's not banning it. They're just saying we're only going to...
Yeah, why would China ban it? It's theirs.
Right, but I'm just saying, I'm making a point. They're not banning it. They're saying we want a better version. But I do think there's something to that, though, Charlamagne, what Jess and DJ Envy is saying is this does have a lot to do with the money now as well. We're saying we want Meta to be able to buy it. Microsoft tried to buy it and had a failed attempt. Mm-hmm. So do you think, can two things be true at the same time? Can we say that there could be a possible security risk, but they want the bag
too? Two things can be true, but I think the security threat is the bigger issue. Especially when you see other countries around the world banning it. And it's a reason that China has most American social media platforms banned too. All these mother effers be spying on each other. If China thinks America's social media platforms are a national security threat and America thinks China's TikTok is a national security threat, guess what? They're probably both right.
Then how far do we go? But how far do we go? Do we not let Chinese businessmen come in and build hotels and build all these corporations and buildings that they have because
they're not getting data though? That's not getting data.
But they could be spying on us. When they get hotels, people check into hotel rooms. I know a lot of countries were having. Yeah, I know a lot of countries were having problems because they were building hotels and building resorts in different nations and in different areas, and people were having problems with that.
People were mad because they don't like to see other people come in and buy up all your land. That's what they get mad about in the Caribbean. That's what they get mad about in Africa. That's what we should be getting mad about here.
Basically, what you're saying, Envy, is TikTok is not the only way that they can spy on us if they wanted to spy on us.
That's right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it also, again, there's been Russian interference with Facebook, so they still can interfere, but it's different than the spy conversation. So I get your point. But I also want to throw out there that, yes, Charlamagne, they are concerned about us spying on them. But there is still the point, though, that China has banned our social media. A lot of it has to do with them just thinking our social media is trash as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
They don't want us to have influence on their kids.
And they always felt that way. That's just them not wanting to bleed our stuff into their kids.
And also, this is just the beginning of a lot of rules and regulations that are going to be implemented on a lot of these social media platforms. I think that it's going to come a time, especially on YouTube, they're going to make people get a license to be on YouTube. The same way we have to have a license to broadcast. When they start putting those type of rules and regulations on YouTube, because people be getting on YouTube acting like they real live news sources and dispensing a bunch of misinformation. It's going to come a point in time where a lot of you YouTubers that are so-called broadcasters, y'all gonna have to get licenses because of the rules and regulations that they're gonna implement on YouTube. Let's see how much y'all love the gossip then. when you gotta pay for that $1 million license and you getting these $1 million fines for spreading misinformation. Let's see how much y'all care about spreading falsehoods about people then.
All right.
And then can I put this point in there right quick? They get mad about it if they want to, but at one point Trump wanted to ban TikTok by an executive order, and he switched the game up on this as well. Now he's saying, "Oh no, we need to be looking out for TikTok." But they say that the reason why he's done that is because a major Republican donor that has stake in ByteDance has been one of his funders. So again, this is how we see politics, and because Biden is for banning, so obviously Trump want to be against it because it's campaign season. So there's just a lot of politics involved in this, and we'll just keep watching the story.
Hey, that's also not going to get, Biden's approval rating is already in the toilet with the youth. Banning TikTok ain't going to help that.
Definitely going to help.
He's been over there on TikTok actually doing quite well. Yeah.
All right. Well, that is front page news. Thank you, Tez.
You're welcome.
And make sure you follow at Tesla and Figaro on all social media platforms and subscribe to Tesla and Figaro's podcast, the Straight Shot No Chaser podcast on the Black Effect iHeartRadio podcast network.
Wake that ass up. Early in the morning. The Breakfast Club.